Hey guys, welcome to Your Best Interviews. My name is Eric Smith. Thank you so much for spending the time here with me. I know that there's a lot of places you can go, so I appreciate you spending it here. Today, what I want to talk to you about is how to answer the question, tell me about a difficult situation that you encountered and how did you overcome that? Part of my answer here is really going to be how do you answer behavioral-based questions and what's the best way to prepare for them? It's a really broad question. If you're interviewing, you should expect to get behavioral-based questions because they want to understand how you think. They see your resume, they know that you're qualified, and chances are you're a good fit for the role because you're actually in front of them interviewing. Now they want to understand how you think, how you problem solve on the spot. And a lot of that understanding is going to come through behavioral-based interview questions. So you should prepare for this ahead of time. And there's a lot of places that you can go. I've got other videos on this. You can also just Google what are the typical behavioral-based interview questions that I should expect. There's a whole host of questions that you can start preparing for. But then how I would prepare ahead of time, because number one is you have to prepare for these questions. But how I would prepare is coming up with some chameleon stories. If you want to know what a chameleon story is, check out my video on that. I will link it at the end, but you need to check that video out because that is the best way, in my opinion, to prepare for behavioral-based questions. Interview questions is just to make sure that you've got your stories all ducks in a row, that you can pick and pull based on the questions that are being asked so that you're never stumped. You have a story for almost every question that could be asked. You're just tailoring the story or focusing on an aspect of the story that relates to the question that they're asking you. But going back, how do you answer, tell me about a difficult time and what did you do to overcome it? Again, you've prepared for this ahead of time. So when they ask you, what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're thinking back to the job description, right? You should know ahead of time, you should study that job description. You should know exactly what their key requirements are, key responsibilities of that role are. And so you know the lens that they're looking and evaluating you through, right? You know what they're looking for in certain answers. And so when you're giving your answer, you want to make sure that you're highlighting all the things that they're looking for a good candidate to have for that role, right? They've laid it out. It's in the job description, key responsibilities, key requirements. So have that in the back of your mind, and that should be kind of a filter for you as you're answering your questions, is you're tailoring a lot of that to that job description because, again, you want to highlight what they're looking for, right? You might be the best person in your mind for the role, but if you're not looking at it through their lens, how are they evaluating you? You could be setting yourself at a disadvantage, right? So when they ask you, tell me about a time that you went through a difficult situation, you should already have a story for that because you prepared ahead of time. And how the best answer that would be using the STAR method, right? So think of a real story in your past where an obstacle came up and that story should relate to the job that you're applying to, right? There should be elements in there. And maybe it's just, problem solving around new technology that, the role that you're going into might have new tech, whatever that is, right? But there should be some sort of correlation there. But as you're going through your story, you should have it already practiced to where you can give the answer in about a minute and a half or less, right? Anything more than that, you're rambling. They don't have a lot of time, right? So they're trying to get these gems. And if you ramble for 5 minutes on a story that isn't as relevant to them, you could be hurting your chances, right? So you want to try and be as succinct as possible in your answer. And the best way to do that is answer behavioral-based questions using a STAR method. You don't specifically have to say it's a STAR method, but the STAR method will help you stay on track, right? It'll help you get your answer out quicker. And the STAR method is situation. So you're laying out the situation. You're quickly at a high level. Here was the situation. It was a work project. We had 3-4 members of the team. And we encountered that we were using the wrong technology or we had to implement new technology that no one knew how to do. My task, right? Situation, task, action, result. So my task was to quickly learn whatever that new technology was, and I had to, quickly instruct the team, and we had to tailor how we were doing to this new tech, whatever that is. I'm just giving the scenario here, but what was your task within that challenge, right? And then what actions did you specifically take? So try and avoid saying, well, as a team, we did this and this. Focus on you specifically. What tasks did you do, right, to overcome that obstacle? And then what were the results? The results that impacted the company or impacted the team in a positive way, highlight those and relate them back to your specific actions, right? So when you're giving your answer, again, you should have your story already done. You should have it practiced so that you can get your answer out in about a minute and a half. And then just keep your structure focused to what was the situation? What was your task? What was your specific actions that you took? And then what were the key results for the company? And then at the end of your answer, if you want, because again, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes doesn't really allow for a lot of deep elaboration right into your answer, you could say at the end, I think that one's probably the best one, but any questions about that, or can I add more color to any part of the answer? And typically if they have questions like, well, I'd love to know a little bit more about the actions that you took here, here, and here, they'll ask you, and it allows you again to highlight why you're the best person, or highlight how you think, how you overcame that challenge specifically. So they'll ask you if they want to, but typically if you can get your answer out in 1.5 minutes and they don't have any questions, that's great. You've highlighted exactly what you want them to know that relates to what they're looking for in that role. And then it allows them to ask the next question where, again, you can have a story ready to highlight what you want to emphasize why you're the right candidate for them. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. I know this is quick. Behavioral-based questions are tricky, and they can be really nerve-wracking, but there are things that you can do to overcome them. Prepare ahead of time. Have chameleon stories that you can quickly reference so that you're never stumped. And then use the STAR method. Use a structure to help you stay on track and keep your answer tight. Again, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Hit subscribe. 2 videos every week. All of my content, all of my videos are centered on helping you get the job that you really want, helping you through the interview process. If you're going through the interview process now, check out all the links below. Check out my website. I've got a lot of resources that help you get a leg up and will improve your odds of getting the job that you want. So I appreciate you being here, guys. Thank you so much and good luck.